So I think Shoaib is setting up the laptop, so meanwhile I can just start with the introduction just to consume max of our time. So I'm Usman Zuberi, I'm working as project manager at VentureDive, and along with me we have Shoaib, who's our lead UX individual. And he's been leading all the design and UX efforts at VentureDive and also leading all the design activities that we have beside our Lahore office who are specifically working on products. So before we start, just a quick question regarding Google Design Sprints. How many of you have exactly heard about Google Design Sprints? Can you raise your hands? 2. 3, of course. 4, nice. And how many of you have actually been through Google Design Sprints? Just 1. Okay. So, beside all the theoretical stuff and the practical executions, an important aspect of Google Design Sprint and how it works and how it focuses on different stages. The most important point is like you need to think through the eyes of the customers. You need to understand the pain points of your customers, like what he's expecting, what he wants, and what are the user needs. For example, if you are only thinking from a product perspective, if you are only thinking from a featured perspective, so I think you are just negating your customer. So talking about Google Design Sprint.
Hello guys, so I just joined because I have to set up that now. So the design sprint, so I guess Usman has already asked about the design sprint. I guess you don't have much audience here, already know about it.
Yeah.
So we will start with what is a sprint. So anyone can tell me what is a sprint? It's not the one that Usain Bolt runs for? Yeah?
As the physical sprint?
Yeah, I exactly asked that. It's not the one that Usain Bolt.
So basically, I'm assuming like some of you guys are from the software engineering background or classes, so usually...
It's basically a short run of, like there is specific set of goals that you want to achieve in a short period of time, like 14 days or 10 days.
Yeah.
And that's similar to an agile sprint, I imagine that would.
Yep. Exactly. So basically, in past what we used to have like in a linear sequential model or sprint model, we used to have a product manager or a project manager who's just coming up with the requirements or specs or user stories and just ask the UX individual like, see, brother, you need to do this box, you need to do these designs, and we need this by the end today, and like he's just focused who are designing that, and then we have developers who are just coding based on the specs and the designs that we have.
So all the work is on the designers basically.
Yeah.
Designer is not interacting with the business goals, not with the developers, he's just doing the UI work. Usually the UX designers here in Pakistan, especially in this region, the Asian region, is considered to be the one who is just designing the UI. It's not the considered one who is doing the research, who is doing the user research, is doing the understanding the business goals. So this things always just came as the second priority, but it's always the first priority.
So before we move forward, I just talked about user pain points, user needs. So by the way, I didn't bring this Apple to promote Apple products because somebody is here. I just brought it to give a closer example, some real life example. So just consider this Apple as your product. You are a product designer for this product. And you are designing this product for a kind of customer who's always hungry, who's coming out of the work, entering the home, and he just want to have some kind of fruit, specifically an apple. And he just want to rush to have his first bite. And we have this much big label on it saying apple. So I think the first thing that he want to do is like he just scratch the apple, he would want to flick this label, and he would try to have his first shot. I think this is the first thing that we're gonna do to irritate and frustrate our customers as far as our product is concerned. So basically, we are failing with our idea because from the product perspective, from the ideas perspective, we are coming up with a product that through which we are trying to cater a customer who's always hungry and want to have his first bite in just a matter of nanoseconds, but we are failing. So that's why we have this Google Design Sprint to just work closer to user needs. Okay, so the question stands, what is a Google Design Sprint? So theoretically, of course, it's 6-stage-based, agile-based framework, but what it does. So what Google did is, they collected some best practices from brainstorming, game storming, agile development, and design thinking. they gave users more than 40 methods to be used during different stages. I mean, it's just a framework, it's up to you, it's very flexible. You have all the flexibility, you have all the leverage, use all those 40 methods throughout these stages.
So here the idea is more towards understanding the business. So usually we just end up having the UI, so we don't cater any business goals, any customer goals. So here in the design sprint we are working as a team and we are collaborating as a team, as a single unit, and we collaborate at each individual as different stakeholders. So,
by the way, one more thing before we move forward. We call it Google Design Sprint, but I think it's more of a whole product design sprint. It's more of a collaboration tool for the users. And why we would see forward.
So here the key you can say the key strategies for the design sprint. Don't be afraid of constraints. So you will come up with different constraints. It will be a user constraint, it will be a business constraint, it can be a technology capacity constraint. But you have to figure out, you have to work together as a team to understand this constraint and to specifically neutralize the subsets and get to the point where you have the actual problem, where you have find out the actual problem that's causing the business, maybe the user experience, or maybe the technology might be we have like.
Before we move forward, Shoaib just said that don't be afraid of the constraints, but why he's saying that? Google Design Sprint says like constraints are good. Dark to अच्छे होते हैं, but constraints are good. Why? Because constraints help you to have good designs. Constraints help you to narrow your focus. By focus, we mean challenges that we'll be discussing forward.
Design is not an individual sport, as I was speaking earlier. So it's not just only designer. So it's a complete team effort. And to give you a 360 view, so Usman, can you start with it?
Yeah, so basically we are saying that design is not an individual sport. So as we just discussed a few minutes back, like earlier in traditional models, the teams were sitting in silos. Even in agile model, we are running sprints, we are having sprints, but still we are working at development or designer or the product management table. But what's happening here? First of all, we have a PM and marketing or sales or strategy teams who are specifically looking like how this product could be profitable, how we can cater the business, how we can cater the culture, how we can solve the culture or business problems. So in short, here basically we are trying to solve the business needs. The second thing that appears in a 360 view is basically the engineering feasibility. What does this mean? What this means is like whatever the idea we are thinking through, whatever the idea we are generating, or whatever we are brainstorming as product designers, is it feasible to develop that particular idea with existing or emerging technologies? So basically, how we do this, we have stages for that. And,
so I guess we have missed the user experience again. We have to be very careful about user experience. So the last and the most important part of the design, of a product design, is the experience, because in the end, this product will be in the hand of the customers, not in your hand. You are not going to use it. It's for the customer. So you have to start building from the very start. You have to have this sense like it's a customer product. So what is desirable? So user experience, we have to cater this at every level.
So I think we already catered this point, so we can move forward. So as we were discussing, like it's more of a collaboration tool. So what Google Design Sprint does is like it's a combination of cross-functional teams. Like we have researchers, we have prototypers, we have designers, we have product manager, and of course we have a sprint master. The teams could be like 5 to 6 individuals, even larger. And in case of larger teams, you might break it into smaller chunks or smaller teams. What happens is like these teams come together, they collaborate, they gather, they work towards a single challenge, and they start solving that challenge. Among all these individuals, the most important individual is basically the sprint master. What sprint master is, So basically, sprint master is something who gathers the team, who collects the team, who invites the team, he defines the challenge, he explains the high-level challenge to the team. He will go through like, are we focused towards our challenge that we are trying to solve? Above all, the sprint master is the kind of individual who's have a very comprehensive, deep and extensive knowledge about the UX concepts. He's more of a researcher rather than a UX individual.
Just adding a point, the sprint master can also be your CEO, you also can be your project manager, and also you can be your UX designer. So it doesn't have to be like you have to pick from the person should know the product from its origin, and he has to know this from the start.
So before we move forward, I think we have another important thing as far as sprint master is concerned. So there is a particular workflow that sprint master follows, like what he's going to do before the sprint, during the sprint, and after the sprint. So before the sprint, what the first important and major task that he has is to identify the challenge. What challenge he has, what's the problem statement that he is trying to solve through his team. Secondly, the second most important thing is the timeline to launch that particular feature or product that he communicates to his team. Third thing is he just selects the team that he wants as part of his sprint as a sprint master. And above all, besides the team selection and everything else, he schedules all the tasks that would be done throughout that sprint that he would be running as a sprint master. And of course, since this whole design activity happens in a kind of a war room, we call it a war room, you can call it a room only, you can call it a facility room or whatever you like. But this is again also a kind of administrative activity, but he arranges that war room as well there he can gather his team and start with all these activities.
So we have to pick the big fish. So we have to pick the big fish from the product problems and we make a challenge statement. Right now we have this challenge statement for our current product we have working on. So we define the challenge statement with the focus on the deliverable, on the timeline of the product. And also the final deliverables what will be the final deliverables. So here we have the deliverables like prototype, polish, with designs.
So prepare the supplies. This is, I think, one of the important things, although very minor thing that a sprint master does as well. I mean, just to collect all the stationery that we would require to run a sprint as a sprint master. So, like sticky notes, markers, etc., and of course stacks if you can get sponsored for that.
Let's start the design sprint. So we have 6 sprint stages. We have understand what are the user needs, business needs, and technology capacities. So in this exercise we will be working over different user goals, different business goals, and looking at what technology capacity we have to work around with this solution we are working over. Define what is the key strategy and focus. So here we have to decide like what will be the user flows for our product and what will be the core of the product for that defines the product. So diverge. In diverge we're going to do some exercise where we explore different ideas as many possible, and we will sketch. It will be a very quick exercise. It should be done under like in half an hour and so you have at the end you have as many as ideas where you can select and then work more towards them. So decide.
So basically, when we land to deciding phase, what we are doing is like we have different ideas, we have different sketches, we have different solutions, we have thought through them. So now this is the stage where we're going to actually decide like which idea we're going to move forward. We have different techniques that we will going to discuss once we'll come to this phase in detail.
So prototype, we come up with we pick one solution, then we prototype it. It can be a model, it can be a video, it can be a physical prototype sort of, and we present this to the users and get the feedbacks. And to that feedback, we might have to go and reiterate few steps. So here we have the sort of initial product which we can hand over to the customers. So the last point, the last stage, we have the validate, where we test ideas. So test ideas with users, the business stakeholders we have, we send over them the prototype and we get the feedback.
So first of all, we have this understanding phase. So, I mean, anyone, like, just forget about design sprint for a few seconds. Anyone has some rough idea like what we're going to do under this phase? I mean, just consider these 6 stages. Any idea like what exactly a user or a sprint master should be doing during this particular stage? Anyone? Just made up, yes.
Requirement gathering, understanding what the user needs.
Think beyond requirement gathering. Think for the user, think for the customers.
What is running in the current market?
Okay, kind of closer. And?
Research about the users?
Yes. Yeah. Anyone else? Just make a wild guess. I mean, I'm not saying like the answer should be very good.
Have to be accurate.
How we can solve the problem?
Yeah, somehow. Very close.
Prototyping?
Not yet. It's a big part.
Understanding the business requirement?
Yeah, somehow. Yeah. Okay. So basically, before we go into more details, what we are doing here is like just forget about this stage and forget about what we're going to discuss in the next second part. Just consider that you are on a kind of a journey and you are just creating a kind of a map to reach target or hit a target. You need to reach some destination, you need steps or map or some directions to hit that target. So basically this understanding phase provides us that map to hit that target. We are just creating directions, we are creating some routes, we are creating some directions for us to reach that map or reach that target. So what we are actually doing during this design phase, especially we are having lightning talks. Now, anyone has any idea by the term lightning talks, like what we might be doing during these discussions?
I don't think so. I
Yeah,
guess.
actually, quick talks, very limited time is given to the speaker, and he or she can talk about like different existing technology or competitive analysis or whatever.
Awesome. So basically what happens is like during lightning talks, we just discussed a few minutes back about 360 view of different individuals. Like we have sales, marketing, product management teams, we have technical individuals, and then we have UX engineers. So basically all 3 types of individuals gathered together, they are given like 5 to 10 minutes, they quickly brainstorm, they quickly discuss, they quickly come up with their domain specific discussions, and at the end of their 5 or 10 minutes, they come up like what exactly or somehow roughly is required. Okay? Especially if I talk about technology capacities, so technical developers or tech leads would be talking about like if what you are talking or what you are about to talk is actually possible against the given technology. I know Murtaza is just staring with me because he has faced such situation where he proposed something and we never heard give much attention to it. By the way, we have okay. So besides lightning talks, then the other things that we have under understanding phase is user interviews. So user interviews is very simple, you are all aware of that. We go to our actual users, we ask them questions, what are their likes, what are their dislikes, what they want to improve in their products, and what they want to see in the final product. So basically this is very casual end-to-end discussions with the users. The third thing, this is the most important thing, at least to me, stakeholder mapping. Any idea about stakeholder mapping? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Do you guys know what's a stakeholder?
I guess you just had your coffee and snacks, so there should be much energy within you, no?
So guys, stakeholder, what's a stakeholder?
Yes, sure.
Stakeholders because में जो business partners होते हैं आपके उन लोगों के ideas और वो उनकी क्या requirements हैं और वो क्या
User को कहते हैं ना stakeholder.
किस तरह का
But we just said stakeholder mapping. Still, I agree like stakeholder requirements and things. That's part of the phase part. What we mean by stakeholder mapping? Yeah.
how they are going to hit the target.
Not
Actually,
exactly.
can I answer it?
Is actually the owner or stakeholder of mapping.
I agree. And what the question is like, what stakeholder mapping means here? I mean, I agree. Like
Identifying the stakeholders and mapping them.
that's one part. That's one part. That's correct, but that's one
I
part.
guess again you are explaining the word stakeholder map.
Okay, so quickly explaining like your definition, like identifying the stakeholder. Yes, if anyone has read Pinball, so there was a very important step of creating stakeholder register. You might have heard about it. So what we are doing is like we are identifying stakeholders, we are creating a list against stakeholders. Third point, we are doing a kind of a categorical, logical grouping against those stakeholders. Like one stakeholder is financial people, other stakeholders like sales people, third stakeholder is kind of marketing individuals. So we've done a kind of a grouping against those stakeholders. And what we do is, then fourth step, which is very important, we assign different teams, individuals or more than one individuals to these different stakeholder groups who would specifically focus on those stakeholder groups based on the challenge that we identified, that we actually picked up during our initial discussions. By the way, another important point before landing to understanding phase is kind of a practice where sprint masters audit or validate it. Like if the challenge identified or if the problem statement identified during earlier phases are actually their challenges or it's actually a problem statement. Because it's very important in Google design sprint that you focus the actual problem, the actual challenge statement. And your focus should be correct, and that's why we talked about constraints. Fourth thing is competitive overview. This is a very interesting thing and very exciting activity as well. By the way, any idea about comparative overview? You guys might be doing your final year projects, you might have some ideas, you might be doing this as well. Anyone? You are all computer science graduates, right? Computer science students.
So just give you, let me give you a hint. What do you think who
He has an
was
answer.
the competitor?
Analyze the competitors, gather some information that what they are up to.
Looking over their features, maybe where we both coincide and where we are lacking, where we having the similarities, and looking over what over the age they are doing and where we stand. So competitive, the competitive overview is you check where you are standing and where your competitors are standing. So like you can say that Google Plus and Facebook, so you know where they both are standing. So Google Plus has tried, and they have the statement, I guess. The Google has said that the when they are building the Google Plus, they said we have to do better than Facebook. So that's what the challenge statement. But
another example could be like, for example, you guys have a very good idea, like you want to create your own Iqra apps and you want to have your online Play Store, similar to Google Play Store. So your first comparative overview would of course be Play Store, Google Play Store. So you would go through it, browse it, spend some time, spend some hours, and see like what exact features you should have or gonna have in your Play Store then.
So there can be many more methods for the understanding phase. You can have different methodologies. We have 40 plus methodologies we can use for this understanding phase. So next, moving to the define methods. Defined methods is more towards you're now creating a definition for your product. So the definition can also be like in terms of design and in terms of how user will go through your product from very first phase from the discovery to the making the user becoming the expert to use that app or whatever the system is. So the user journey is a map that lists all the stages where users start from the discovery of your product to the first time use, and then going towards to the expert, becoming an expert. So it can be like you I guess all of you use WhatsApp and Facebook. So your journey will start from you open the app, you open the Facebook app, you have the notification. Now, for the first time you get a new notification, you know that we have this notification feature. And then next time you will become an expert for this. You will get a notification, you will tap on it, and you will see the updates on it.
By the way, I know like there are more colors in the slide, but it's kind of a drive concept. Anyone has actually applied this in your projects that you guys might be currently doing or working on, like creating user journeys as part of the UX?
Yep. I guess
Do we have a mic, please?
Oh, UX.
I just wanted to add that probably there's one box missing in your equation or in your whole user journey, and that's for planning for the end game. Because you cannot have a user for, user switch applications all the time, and unless you have the end game planned in your whole user journey, there won't be a complete user experience design. And same, I like this approach, and I think this can do wonder. Just if we add for the end game plan in this whole equation. Thank you.
So I guess by the end game, what I am understanding,
I think that's more of our challenge statement or the problem statement that we are trying to write. That the same example that we gave a few minutes back, a map or the direction that we need to follow to get our target. So that's why we didn't include that policy.
so next we define the principles. The principles, the core principle for our application or our product. So the principles will be like our app should be continuous, it should be powerful, it should be easy, it should be capable, and you design this principle and you cater them till the end till you deliver this product. So when you are validating the product, this principle should come handy in the end. So you validate on this 3 or 4 principles, whatever you have decided, and you validate on this principle your product idea. Next is time to get the word out. So you have to get the word out. Your product, you have to market it. You have to let it be to the end of the user. You have to prepare some tweet for it. You send the first tweet to the customer,
PPT
the
बड़ी प्यारी
audience, the potential audience.
PPT बड़ी प्यारी बनाई है.
And then you give
Interesting.
the
मिल जाएगी नहीं.
We are having trouble hearing you.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello. I guess mine is working.
Hello.
So next is the diverse methods. So here we start working on the ideas. We have to sketch quick sketches. 8 ideas in 8 minutes. So
By the way, sorry, just for interrupting this wave, I think everyone should be aware of like the images that we have used. Few of these images are actual live images that we took from our projects. I think we have one individual sitting over here as well who are actually just using this glue to attach all these images in a single journey. So this is the kind of practice that we just applied at one of our projects as well.
So this are the current that we have in the exercise of the current our product. So the 8 ideas in 8 minutes, every individual on the team will have a sheet given to them, and they have to fold them 3 times, and after folding them 3 times, you will get an 8 rectangle. And each rectangle you have to draw the problem statement you have to draw, you have to design that. I would like to have this exercise done, but I don't think we have time for this, so we can just discuss it. So in the end, you have the 8 ideas under 8 minutes, and it's not just only 8 ideas, it will be from the individual in the team. So each individual will be working on different ideas, and in the end, have many solutions to choose from and many solutions to go forward.
By the way, we 8 ideas in 8 minutes. It has a very exciting and funny term as well. We call it crazy 8s. So you guys can use this in your projects as well, just to make it more exciting.
Yes, so after we have done with the 8 ideas, then we pick up one big idea, and for that one big idea, we give a 5-minute exercise where we try to make it more precise and make it more to the product problem. So here we have then we work on the storyboarding for that idea. We pick the one best idea, then we go forward with the storyboarding. Storyboarding is more towards like the user journey. So again, you have the 5-minute 5-minute drill where we ask each individual to start drawing a storyboard. Storyboard is like I take my phone out from my pocket and then I open it up and then I open my app and then how I have interacted with the particular feature we are designing. So this storyboarding is sort of like a comics. If anyone have idea about the comics, there's a comic strip where you have different steps. Sorry,
So I think next is the decide method. So this is almost like one of the second answer stages that we have. Paris is giving me very negotiating close, so I need to go up slightly faster now. He's just giving me like we are time out now. So we have different techniques. Quickly, we have Zen voting. It is also known as silent voting as well, where users come together, they do form a kind of a silent opinion so that they are not getting biased by listening to other opinions. They take notes and they discuss that later. Then we have team review and decision on what to prototype. So basically all these sketches are placed on the board. They are just looking through them, they are looking through the ideas, and they are discussing things. By the way, during this practice, there is another important point that you might have conflicts within your team members. One individual is saying something different and the second one might be opting for something different, but conflicts are really productive to come up with a good product. Positive conflicts, of course, relating to ideas, not the personnel conflicts. Then the third point we have is like thinking hacks. This is the kind of an activity that's kind of a trump card for a sprint master. Like for example, if the sprint master has an idea that individuals are getting biased against a particular opinion, against a particular idea, so he would designate different think hacks to individuals and use them like to get or land to a better idea. What think tanks we have is like kind of a devil's advocate, we have critics, we have idea generators, we have pessimists, and then we have technical feasibility individuals. Besides this, we also have other 7 or 8 different deciding techniques that we could use, but these are the 3 top techniques that are actually provided in Google Design and Handbook as well. Okay, you can just go research and find out like what are the other great ideas.
Stage, so we have now the prototyping part where we prototype the best idea we have picked and all the things necessary to work on that idea, then we prototype it. For prototyping, you can do the mocks, you can do the demo. This demo can be interactive demo, you can use, there are different tools available online and you can use different mobile apps. Then we have a video prototyping where you just design a whole flow and you record a video. And then we have this physical prototype. In physical prototype, you make the paper prototype and then you have each interaction, just like the kindergarten stuff, you have to pull and push some buttons and on the UI, on the paper and just on the paper and cards.